Hello, sweet friends. It's Tracy. I have been getting more requests for some painting projects, so that's what I'm sharing with you today. I appreciate so many people loving my style of painting and decorating, so I want to show you how I made this little Happy Easter sign. Now, the sign is using one of these boards from the Dollar Tree. This happens to be an Easter sign, but the Dollar Tree does have these for different seasons. So I just removed the feet and also whatever else was on the sign. And then I'm going to paint on the back side. And what I did is I cut off about 8 inches of this board because that 8 inches is going to be the bunny face, and then the other part is going to be the sign. I just used some hole filler, some spackle that I got from the Dollar Tree to fill those holes that were at the top of the sign where the jute string was. And then I gave each board 2 coats of plaster color chalk paint. Plaster it's not a true white, and it's not an ivory either, and I like that color anyway. So once those are completely dry, I'm using this yellow. It's just acrylic paint, and it's a primary yellow, and I'm just taking my stencil brush and just going around the edges I'm not being very precise, very even. I'm just kind of almost stippling it on and just kind of going around just to give it a yellow color. For my bunny face, I tend to kind of stick with the same designs for my projects. And like I've said before, I like the more rectangle cheeks. And I use a stippling brush, a stencil brush, to kind of achieve the look that I like up and down. I know there are a lot of people that like round cheeks, so that's the beauty in painting. We can make it anything we want. And I use a coral color paint for my cheeks. Now for my eyes, I kind of been doing eyes for many years, and I like the more almond shape, where like at the top they kind of meet up at the top. And so what I usually do is I draw them out with a black marker, and then I go back over it with my black paint. That seems to work the best for me. I have a very thin, very loved thin liner paintbrush that I use to make my eyelashes and as well as my eyebrows. And so then now I'm just taking a pencil and just drawing out a nose, and then I just take some pink paint and I just with the brush just paint in my nose, and I give that 2 coats of pink paint. The key to making the whites of the eyes as well as small lines is to use a very thin liner brush. Now this brush has been with me for many years, and it's my favorite brush to do designs like this. And so liner brushes can be purchased anywhere. It's just to use the thinnest liner brush that you can get. Okay, so then now I'm just going to shade my bunny, and so I'm just using gray. Slate gray is the name of this acrylic paint, and so I'm just using my 1/2 inch flat paintbrush, and I dip half of my brush in paint, the other half in clean water, and then I blend on a paper towel. Then I go around whatever I want to shade, and that gives me the look that I would like. And so then next I am just taking a 1/4 of an inch flat paintbrush because it's a little bit smaller space, and I'm just shading black around the nose. In my Amazon store is my favorite paintbrushes. If you want to see exactly which paintbrushes I use, they're my favorite. Okay, so then now I'm just taking an ultrafine Sharpie marker and just drawing out the mouth for my cute little bunny. just to add a little highlight to my nose, I just took some white paint and just gave it a little swoosh. Okay, so now I'm going to work on my sign, and I have my bunny positioned, and I want to, leave enough space for my letters. I'm using that same color of gray, which was slate gray, and I'm just taking a liner brush and just giving it some lines on the background, just to give it a, decoration, kind of break up the background a little bit. And then I'm going to hand letter my Happy Easter on the sign. Now, I have been painting for many years. It is some God-given talent, and I do appreciate so many kind comments on, you like my lettering style, and I owe all the glory to God because He is the one who has given me this talent, as well as the patience to be able to hand letter like this. And so I am here to encourage you, as well as to inspire you, that, I was determined to learn how to write with a paintbrush. And so I kept practicing and never gave up. Now, I have found a font that is a free font. It's called Gel Dotica, and it is from defont.com. It's, a free download, and it is one of the best, I guess, letterings that I've found. I kind of consider my lettering style the Tinker Toy font. I found that font a long time ago. I think now you need to pay for it, but I did find this Gel Dotica font for a free download. And I shared that so that if you want to download the font, and then use like some carbon paper or tracing paper, you can, type out the letter on your computer, and then you can transfer it onto a sign and kind of follow the tracing of the Gel Dotica font, and that will give you this dotted look the way that I like to do for my signs and my letters. For my projects, I always do the extra, and that is just, something that is in me. I just love to do extras just like this, with putting little highlights on the end of my dots. It's just something that I like to do, and I do appreciate so many comments and so many friends saying that they love that I do the extras, because I really feel that when you do the little extras, it does show through your project. Okay, so another thing I like to do is shade around my letters, just to, bring them out a little bit. It kind of adds a little bit more definition, a little bit more depth, and also it just really adds character to your project. And I just use that. I'm using a 1/4 inch flat paintbrush and just doing the same thing, dipping half of it in paint, the other half in clean water, blending on a paper towel, and then I'll go around each letter just to give it a little bit of shadow, shading, and a little bit of highlight. So I take it a step further and go around my letters with my ultrafine Sharpie marker, just to give it some squiggles and some, just some little extra. It's just something that I like to do, and it's kind of my signature. It is kind of what makes my projects pop a little, and I just go around the letters just like that, and just give it, just a little bit more definition and highlight. And then I'll take my fine Sharpie marker and I go around the entire project just to give it some doodling. I love to doodle. I love happy dots. I love all of the paint splatters. I'm going to be doing that next. And to paint splatter, I do get some, comments, and I'll get some private messages to ask about my paint splattering. Now, I have found over the years, just by trial and error, is to make sure that the paint is of an ink consistency. You don't want it to be too thick, because you'll have it won't splatter quite as well, and too thin, you're going to have a watered down look. So I just get it to be an ink consistency, and I get the best result by using a stiff stencil brush. Of course, a toothbrush will work as well. And I use a stick to glide across my my stiff brush. And so I pull the stick toward my body where then the paint will, go off on the project, and I make sure that my table or where I am splattering is covered because paint does go everywhere. But I usually do black first, and then I go over it with white just to give it the look that I like. A bunny would not be complete without some cute whiskers, and I use wire that I get from the Dollar Tree. It is in the automotive section. I get asked, this is probably one of my most asked comments or questions. It is in the automotive section. It's very pliable, and I love to work with it. It's not stiff. And so anyway, I cut 6 pieces, so I'm going to use 3 on each side, and I just took a paintbrush and just wrap them so that they're curly. Then I'm going to drill just a very small hole on each side of the nose, and I take those 3 wires and I kind of twist them all together. I use my needle nose pliers if I need them, just to twist them, make sure that they're all together. And then I just thread it through that hole, and I put a little bead of hot glue in the hole, and then I just thread my wire through there and then just kind of bend it on the back. And the headband that I'm going to be using next for the ears is going to kind of give it some height, and so everything stays nice and snug. We have to make a cute small bow for the top of my bunny. So I'm just sharing with you here my trims. I pulled out different trims. I get them at, different stores, Walmart, the craft stores, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, anywhere I can find small trims like this. At the Dollar Tree, that is where I got that polka dot burlap. And so I originally cut my ribbons, that polka dot, at 6 inches, and then by the time I dovetailed it, it was like down to 5 inches. And so that just kind of gives you an idea of what the size is for these trims. And then I just, layer them all together. I kind of crisscross them, make a funky bow, refab bow, junk bow, whatever, you choose to call it. And so then I use a pipe cleaner just to get things really tight so that my ribbons pop. Okay, so I have these headbands that I got at Hobby Lobby, and the 2 that I picked up were this blue as well as a pink. I couldn't decide which one I was going to use, but I decided to use the blue. So what I'm showing you here is the ears are a little too wide for me for this size of this bunny. So I cut the headband in half. I just cut it with my scissors, and then I just layer it on top of each other to make my ears a little bit more closer for this bunny, because they were too wide for me. And so I just hot glue all of that together, and then I just hot glue that to the to my sign. Now, originally, when I first made this project, I had attached it. I made the sign for a wreath. Y'all know that I love to design wreaths. I do sell them locally in my hometown. That is the only place that you can get them right now. And so since I was doing this video, I had to attach, when I did the wreath, I kind of like wired it on to be part of the wreath. But since I was making this sign, I had to glue the actual headband to the sign, and then position my bunny face on there and hot glue that as well, and everything worked out great. So I have this sign ready to go for another wreath. So then lastly here, I am just attaching my small bow with some hot glue, and I do use Gorilla Glue sticks and have the best results with that, because that does stand up to the Texas heat. Okay, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this project as much as I did. Like I said, I have made a couple of wreaths with this sign, and probably going to be making some more. Like I said, I do sell them locally at a local store in my hometown. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all of your sweet comments, your support. I appreciate you all. You have a wonderful and blessed day. God bless.